Welcome, welcome, welcome. Have you guys missed me? I have not recorded a Headshots by Peggy Presents in a really long time. But when I met Jesse, I was like, you know what? I need to share this information with you. So this is going to be super exciting. So buckle up. Jesse, thank you for agreeing to come on the show and talk to us.
Thanks for having me, Peggy.
Absolutely. So tell everyone who you are and where you are on your journey.
Yeah, I'm Jesse Carroll. I am pretty far along on my voiceover journey in a kind of a short period of time, actually. I was really lucky that way. I got into voiceover just about 7 years ago now, kind of out of necessity. My acting career wasn't really going the way that I wanted it to go, so I couldn't make a living off of it. And I was working in managing nightclubs, and I was getting older at the time, and I knew that the end was coming soon, so I had to find something else. And adjacent to acting was voice acting, and I've always been curious about it. And I'd been told, like many people that get into voice acting, that I had a good voice, so I thought I'd give it a shot. And found out that you could actually do it from home. I always thought that the old school way of doing it is how you did it, where you learn how to do it, and then you go to a studio and you record at a studio, and you need an agent, all that kind of stuff. You don't need any of that anymore. So as soon as I found out I could do it on my own time from home, I dove into it like as hard as I could, and completely replaced my nightclub management job within like 3 months.
That's awesome because I think the percentage is like 3% of actors make a living acting.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hustle that goes on. So just that in itself. Now, I've done this podcast for like 7 years, and then it's kind of been setting quietly for a couple of years. But the one thing that actors that come on here say over and over, if you don't have a voiceover reel, you are laying money on the table and walking away from it. It's like it's so many things are going on right now. So kind of what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that every actor, they should be getting into voice acting, because here's the thing. Most people, when they think of voice acting, they think video games, animation. Those are the smallest areas in the whole industry of voice acting, and they pay the least. There's every time you see a video on, let's say, a YouTube video with a commercial in between, or anytime somebody's selling something of the internet, that video has a voiceover behind it, and that person got paid. So there's a world of micro jobs to higher paying jobs. And I would say that most voice actors, 90% of the work they get on their own without an agent. And there's many ways to do it, through different websites and casting sites, or you can just really seriously email a client directly and be like, "Hey, you're looking for a voice actor? I'm available."
And the thing is, with the what you were saying, is a lot of commercials. If you do the voiceover, the narration of a commercial, you're getting paid the same that the actors are getting paid for that commercial. You're getting the buyouts, you're getting the wow spots, and all the extra things that commercial plays. You're getting that at it's the same rate as if you were actually visibly in the commercial.
Usually more, to be quite honest. I mean, I've done commercials before. I don't have a huge on-camera commercial background in acting. I do in voiceover, but for on-camera, I mean, the most I've ever been paid for an on-camera commercial was about $3,000, and that was like a year buyout for it. The most I've been paid in voiceover for a commercial, I did a tag for Orange Theory, and I got paid like $30,000, and it was literally 15 minutes to record it, and I did it from home.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's the thing that, I really, when you were telling me your story, I was like, we need to talk about this. Now
Yeah.
you have like over 1,000 commercials or voiceover jobs
Yeah.
under your, and not just commercials, but you do other voiceover stuff. What all, and tell us about like all the cool stuff that's going on and the awards and all the stuff.
Yeah, I've done like, when I first got into it, I thought it was going to be, I focused completely on video games animation, like everybody does, because I didn't really know about the whole commercial world. So I started off by doing like micro mobile games on Fiverr, and then got more commercials. And then the first time I got paid, like for a bigger size commercial, was like $400, but it only took me 20 minutes to record it. And I actually got two of those in one day. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do commercials. I made $800 in less than an hour. So a lot of my experience comes from commercials. I do explainer videos. I narrate a show on Hulu and History Channel called Backroad Truckers. We've done 16 episodes of that now, which is a
Wow.
whole new style of That was awesome. I'm glad that I had the body of work behind me when I actually got the audition for that job, because it's difficult narrating a show because you're dubbing it to everything that's already been filmed, and you've got to time your words between when the actors are talking and the action on screen is really complicated, and you have to like to real time. So yeah, it's a lot of fun though. I like it.
So do you go into the studio at all, or does every job you do at home?
It really depends. So technically, I could do every single job that there is in voiceover from home. However, sometimes it's helpful to go to a studio. Like when I'm recording Backroad Truckers, I could have done it from home, but it would have been really complicated because you do need a director and possibly the writer as well on the call with an engineer who's timing all the videos and setting up all the beeps that you have to time your voiceover to. And then I've got to do my thing. So the easiest way and the most efficient way is to go into a studio to do it. Now, when I'm from Canada. So when I was back in Canada, that's where the show is made. And I was going into their studio to do it there. So now that I'm in New York, we were trying to figure out how to do it and what studio to do at here. And we found a really cool studio called Corner Store Studios in the middle of Manhattan. The guys are great. And they engineered the whole thing and gave us a great deal. And yeah. So
Very
that's
cool.
usually when I go into studios when it's a bigger project like that. And sometimes commercials, they'll want to work with like a studio that they have a relationship with. But usually that's the only time I go into a studio is when it's either required or somebody has a relationship with an engineer at a studio.
So do you find that even commercials shot in LA, you can actually do the voice part in New York, or if it's shot in Canada,
Yeah.
or do they want you to travel and be in a local studio most of the time?
Well, I'll tell you this. So when I was back in Canada, like 99% of my clients were in the US. That's one of the reasons why I came down here. Aside from train more in acting, I came down here because all of my clients are here. I haven't voiced a whole lot of jobs in Canada besides Backroad Truckers. I don't know what it is, but in America, they were like, yes, we love you. They love my voice here, but back in Canada, I guess not so much. I don't know.
That's
Um,
funny.
but it's I think it's probably also because the population difference and there's so much more work and opportunity in the United States than there is in Canada. Canada is great, but it's a very small country, and a lot of the jobs in voiceover still kind of go the old way, where it goes through studios and you have to have your agent and all that. And there's just a lot less of it here in America. Everything's it's as far as companies are concerned, they do a lot of the hiring for voiceover actors internally. So
Yeah. So when I was introduced to you, I pulled you up and I looked at your voiceover website, and I was like, wow. I mean, that was like very, very awesome. I'll
thanks.
put your website in the description below so people can check that out. But, you know, having a body of work is important, but you got to get started somewhere.
Right.
So, that's, I think that sometimes people, and it's like that with photography. It's like that with everything. Well, I don't know enough, or I haven't done enough. It's like, yeah, but you'll never know enough or do enough if you don't just start doing it. I think getting started is one of the key things, is just go out and do it. I mean, you literally changed your whole life in 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. See, here's the thing. When people from the people that I've coached that have done it and from some people that have dropped off, the big difference is the people that decide that this is what they're going to do. No matter what, they're going to do it. They'll figure it out. Whatever the cost is, whatever it takes to build a home studio, they will figure it out. And once you make that decision, there's no room for escape. You are going to make it happen, right? So that's what I did because, well, at the time I'd lost my nightclub management job and I had no choice. I was thrown into making it happen, but I didn't have a lot of funds. So I always tell people the first thing that you want to do, if you really want to do voiceover, make the commitment to yourself. Second thing, get all of the equipment, because if you don't do it, it's just going to sit there and collect dust and you can be reminded of it every single day that you haven't started doing it. And I promise you, it will work out. There is so much voiceover work out there that if you even apply a tenth of what you could, you will get work. And they're always looking for new voices, but you got to make that commitment. You got to make that decision to actually do it. And most people want to start with a demo or classes. I say get all your stuff first, and you don't even need to buy outright. Go to a music store and rent it. Super cheap.
Awesome. That's a great tip. I want to like with everything, I'm a photographer, and I also teach photographers. And one of the biggest things that photographers do, and I know actors do the same thing. They concentrate on their craft. They concentrate on, excuse me, they concentrate on their technique. They concentrate on audition techniques. They concentrate on all these acting things, but they're never anything about the running a business, because when
Yeah.
you're an actor, you are running a business. When I'm a photographer, I have a photography business. You are in the show business.
Yeah.
So I think that, yes, you have to have talent, and yes, you have to have training, but also understanding how things work is so important. And I think that's where you really have some really cool things. You're coaching, you have a program. Tell us about all the things that you do to help that.
Yeah. So the coaching program that I do, it developed around the fact that, well, when I first started doing voiceover, I was looking into courses and classes, and I didn't end up taking any at first until I was making money, because none of them taught how to do it from home. None of them taught you how to set up a home studio. None of them taught how to invoice a client, where to find work, how to get work without an agent, how to get an agent, how to make a DIY demo, a do-it-yourself demo. So I literally took all the stuff that I did that I had to teach myself, that took me a lot of hours, and I put it into a course so that people will have access to that and be able to do it themselves. Because when you go to like any voiceover school, like there's a great studio here called Edge Studios, and they're always pushing script reading classes, which are important if you want to excel. You do need coaching. But if you don't have a home studio and you don't know how to run your voiceover business, all of that is going to be pointless. You're just taking money and you're throwing it out the window. You need to get your business skills and your home studio set up first. That's why in my course, the very first module is, what equipment do you need to get, how to set up a home studio, and how to do it on a budget. So
Yeah,
important.
because you can be the most talented person in the world, but if nobody ever hears your voice, you're never going to make a penny. It doesn't matter.
I look
It
at it
doesn't
like
matter.
this, right? If you're gonna learn how to be a photographer, are you gonna take a class before you buy a camera?
Exactly. Exactly. You got to have the tools.
You have
And
to.
I think when you have the tools at home, at your access, you're going to be working at it more. You're going to learn how you sound on, on the recording. You're going to learn all these things, and you'll be able to practice your craft a lot easier. And in the day of digital that we live in, that doesn't cost anything. You could record 20 hours a day and sleep 4 hours a day and still never run out of, have to buy more film or more tape,
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
digital. Yeah,
Exactly. The thing I think about like learning how to do voiceover at home and doing practice scripts and doing auditions and getting into it, throwing yourself into it right away, I think that propels you so much quicker than getting into just a script reading class. Because when people are relying on that, they're in a group of like 10 to 15 other people, and they're reading maybe one or two scripts in a once a week class. Over the course of a month, they read maybe 8 scripts. If you just throw yourself into voice acting and don't care and just embrace sucking at first, because no matter how good you think you are, you're going to suck at first. You're going to be nowhere near as good as you're going to be a year down the road. And when you start auditioning online and doing auditions right away, you're doing 10 to 20 auditions a day. So in one day, you got more experience than you got in a month of doing script reading classes.
that is
Combined,
crazy.
they're powerful. The two combined can be powerful, because nothing beats, as far as script reading technique, working with a coach who can tweak little things and how to say certain words, or even to help you better understand a certain style of a commercial or explainer video, or how to do a movie trailer, or the quintessential Ford ad, that kind of thing. Having that extra ear helps, but you've got to have the first stuff down, like where to get work, how to set up a home studio, the microphone, all that kind of jazz.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what one tip would you like? What's your most biggest tip that you would give to the listeners?
Yeah, just go find a music store and rent your equipment. Get that first and set up your home studio. Once you have all that stuff, you will start. And I would say get on online casting right away. Right away.
So, is online casting, is it a paid service, a free service?
There's a
Is
couple
it's
ways to
like
do it.
casting? It's just like any other casting service, right?
So there's 2 ways to do it. So there's the paid ones, and that's where you get like really legit jobs that go anywhere from $100 for the job all the way up to thousands of dollars. I saw one that was posted online for $150,000. So those jobs exist, but to get access to those, you have to pay. But to me, like the initial payment, sure, it's, let's say, between $400 and $500, but you book a couple of jobs, it's paid for itself. But it gives you free practice. It's not free, but like very cheap
Right.
practice, right? So you pay for that membership, and the rest of the year you're getting sent 10 to 20 auditions a day, and just working on those scripts and doing it over and over and over, that will make you better, because you'll see what the client's looking for. They'll tell you, oh, we want somebody that sounds natural. We want somebody that has a little bit of grit to their voice, or we want somebody bubbly and fun. And you'll practice doing what you think that is. And when you're doing it from a place of authenticity and you're interpreting those directions yourself without any outside influence of a coach saying, you must do it like this, then you develop your own style and you become unique. And then you're way more hireable, because you're not a cookie cutter of the person you've been working with. You developed it all on your own.
Absolutely. And 10 auditions a day, that sounds incredible to me. I think every actor is going, I could get 10 auditions a day for anything.
I do between 50 and 60 usually. Sometimes if I'm working a lot, I'll only do like 40 auditions. But generally speaking, I do upwards of like 50, 60 auditions every single day, Monday to Friday.
Wow. And that's why you have well over 1,000 jobs under your belt, and
I
you've
work
been
every day.
nominated for awards and
Yeah.
all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I want you to I shamelessly plug your program. Tell us why they should hook up with you, go through your program, have you coach them.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, the proof's in the pudding. If you're doing 40 auditions a day or
Yeah.
more, yeah.
So here's the thing. So what my course does is it takes the guesswork out of it. What I've done is I put together the exact program that I do and follow today. So it's how I got started, and it leads you up to what I'm doing right now. So there's a lot of courses out there, and there's great ones, but they inundate you with all these different lessons and stuff you got to learn in yourself. And then you get through it and you're like, I don't know what to do. Mine is a literal roadmap. That's what I want it to be. You start at the beginning of it, knowing nothing about voiceover, and it takes you all the way through all this skills that you need to be a working professional. So you learn what equipment to get, how to set up a home studio, how to record and edit, what programs to use to do that, how to make a DIY demo, which casting sites to be on, how to set up your profile so that it's a winning profile that you'll actually get auditions, and sometimes even straight offers, so you don't even have to audition in the first place, how to follow up with clients, I dive into a bit of marketing, direct marketing. I still think auditioning on casting sites is the best way to go about it, and then following up with your clients later on. And at the end of the course, you see me actually go through my working day where I audition for a whole bunch of auditions really, really quickly, and you see how fast you can get at doing it. And then editing them. I'm a voice actor. I can't speak. Editing them.
Words are hard sometimes.
It's so hard. Which brings a point too. If you think that you have if anyone who thinks they don't have a good voice or has a speech impediment or anything, I've had to deal with that stuff my entire life. It does not get in the way. Sometimes you have to work a little bit harder, but it can be done. And people love it when you sound authentic too, and not like a voice actor who's projecting. They want authenticity. But yeah, my program gives you all the skills you need to start working in the shortest amount of time possible. I drip it out over 6 weeks so that it's not overwhelming. So you're working on each thing. It gives you a week to work on each module. And by the end of 6 weeks, you're like, wow, it was like being plugged into the Matrix. You know,
that is
same with Neo, and he learns Kung Fu and that's the goal. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm excited. And I talked to you, and you offered all my viewers, because you guys are watching Headshots by Peggy Presents. There's a code in the description that's going to get you a discount on this. So I hardly ever promote anybody, and should let you know how much I believe in this, because at least every third actor that I do headshots with, I have my whole headshot strategy program. We talk about everything. And at least every third actor that I work with is like, do you know anything about voiceover? I'm thinking maybe I should do something. Everybody's talking about voiceover. And I'm like, I don't know. I think there's Facebook groups. And so when I was introduced to you, I was like, okay, this is something that people are talking about. This is something that people are questioning. And clearly people are making money doing this. And if you can be in that 3 to 5% of working actors that are making a living at it, and then it's worth it, because that's something. And a lot of it is just like making that decision that I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
100%. And it doesn't have to be a full-time thing either. When I first started doing it, even though I made a full-time income really, really quickly, I got another nightclub job and I kept it on the weekends because there's not really much voiceover going on the weekends. And I had double income. So this is something you can absolutely do as a side hustle. Let's say you're working your restaurant job and you just want to cut down to a couple of shifts a week. You can do that and still do voiceover. Or if you're working an office job, whatever it is, like voiceover is the perfect side hustle because it's low barrier to entry and you can just rent the equipment to get started. So, yeah.
And then once you get a few jobs, you can go buy fancy equipment and, make
Yeah,
a
if you want to do it full time, that's the way to do it. When I first got going, like this microphone right here, that's a $1,200 microphone. It's a Sennheiser 416. They use it on movie sets. I took all of the money that I was making and I reinvested it to better memberships on more casting sites and upgrading all my equipment and better studios until I have something that's, world class, which I have now. And I just keep upgrading from there and then get more coaching. And yeah, that's the way you want to do it. So 2 ways to
Well,
go.
we have a recording studio in our home. It is our walk-in closet, and we have a cardboard, the trifold cardboard thing that we have sound things glued to, so I can set it behind Mary, and then the clothes are in front and around him, and the sound thing is behind him, and then we have the mic stand and all the mic and the what do you call it? The box that records it. I'm sure there's a technical term for that.
Yeah, it's called interface.
That one, an interface and all that in there. So yes, our closet is it has a mic stand and a mic in our closet full time.
Yeah, you got a reflection shield behind you. Most people forget about that. The thing is, people a lot of the time will have a bunch of clothes or foam if they're using a closet for space. They'll put all the stuff behind the microphone, which helps a bit, but the microphone's pointing towards you. So you need stuff behind you that absorbs reflections.
We pull the ironing board up and set the sound reflector on the ironing board behind him. So he's like in a little.
That's great.
Listen, so when you're getting some tips on,
yeah,
I mean, you can do his course and really do something, or I can tell you the 99-cent star version.
When you're making a home studio, it doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to work. You can literally, and I've done this in a pinch, just take a big blanket and put it over top of you and have the microphone inside of it and just have like your iPad that you're reading off of while you're recording. So all I got to do is cut reflections.
Yeah.
And reflections are sound waves. They're like an actual physical thing. You just can't see them and they bounce off of hard surfaces and they create like a minor echo, which people can hear.
Right. You can't see them, but you can hear them.
Yeah, sound is the actual physical thing and it bounces off of any hard surfaces. So if you have a hard surface in your place, like a desk, you got to cover it. Otherwise, you get a reflection. Yeah.
That's so fun. So I think this is awesome. Check out the description. I'm going to have all of his information in there. And thank you for watching. And I really no longer do Headshots by Peggy Presents, but I was happy to bring a special edition. I'm over at Time Bender Talks now, but come hang out with me anyway. And thank you so much, Jesse.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure being here. All right. Thanks, Peggy.
All right. Bye-bye.